We recreated Epstein's prison in 3D to show you the top 5 lies hidden in the government's footage. And you can get the raw file on Patreon to explore it yourself, and let's jump into it. Lie number 5, you're gonna get a video of the cell.
True.
And you're gonna get the video of the cell. And you're gonna see for yourself.
Kash Patel, the FBI director, told us that this footage was of Jeffrey Epstein's cell, but it's not. Let's fly over to where Epstein's cell actually is. I've marked it with a green door. Down the hall, we actually see a camera marked in red that wasn't recording the night of Epstein's death, which brings us to our next lie. There was only one camera.
There's a video of him.
No, not the actual act, but the entire MCC Bay. There was only one camera.
Deputy Director Dan Bongino of the FBI told us there was only one camera in the special housing unit, but that's not true. There were at least 2 cameras recording and 9 other cameras that were working but not recording due to a malfunction only days earlier. Now the official report
it was like 2 weeks
says
earlier.
that recordings should have been made for about half of the cameras, but in Epstein's block, only 2 out of 11 cameras were recording. Really bad luck, I guess. Now I should say all the cameras were working before that, at a time when Epstein accused his cellmate of trying to kill him, and this was contradicted by his cellmate who said Epstein tried to commit. Epstein later got put on watch for this event.
Well, I think all the cameras were working. Was it called the APU? That doesn't sound right. Or something. I think all the cameras were working, but the recorder wasn't working for, I think, about half the cameras in the whole prison. Not it was in, I think, or it was the whole, however many cameras were routed into that thing.
And we should have been able to get
Was it SHU?
that footage, except the prison failed to save the correct file. Prosecutors claimed the footage contained on the preserved video was for the correct date and time, but captured a different tier than the one where Jeffrey Epstein was located.
There was only one camera.
So our deputy director lied when he said there was only one camera. There were actually 11. At least 2 were recording. Only 1 got released. And according to our own government's report, 5 or 6 should have been recording, but weren't. When the cameras were working properly, they didn't save the right files. Incredibly unlucky. But lie number 3, there's nothing unlucky about it, because we were told directly that the footage we were gonna get showed there was no one there but Epstein.
You're gonna see there's no one there but him.
Right.
There's just nobody there. So I say to people all the time, if you have a tip, let us know. But there's no DNA, there's no audio, there's no fingerprints, there's no suspects, there's no accomplices, there's no tips, there is nothing.
The footage just directly debunks this. There are several people who appear in the footage the FBI released, and actually one even appears after
I think he means like in the cell, right?
lockdown walking up the stairs. The government's report at first called this laundry, but independent experts agreed, according to one analysis by CBS.
At 10:38 p.m., the report says someone, probably Noel, carries a bundle of bedding or clothing up the stairs. It's a rare instance the video does catch movement on the stairs, but barely. Let's see that zoomed in.
Like, what's the theory here? That a guy walked up, killed him, nobody else on that cell line says anything about it? There's no, obviously there's no evidence of this, right? No DNA or anything else.
And in slow motion, again, several of the video forensic experts we spoke with were skeptical about the report's conclusion and thought that the video could be showing an inmate walking up the stairs. Authorities say this was the last time anyone approached his cell block until his body was discovered the next morning. Again, while the video does not contradict that, experts who viewed the video say the limited field of view makes it impossible to definitively conclude that no one used those stairs in that time period.
Yeah, we don't know who that is. The government's not clear. And there are also several people who are...
What do you think happened? He killed himself. He already tried to do it one time. This guy's life is over. They've got him dead to rights, I'm pretty sure, on everything. He already had one sweetheart deal. Like, the dude is fucked. He killed himself. So the autopsy said, it's what everybody else there said. That's, like, there's just no other... You would have to concoct a very... The problem is there's literally zero evidence that he was killed by anybody else. So you have to concoct a story that can account for the fact that every single piece of evidence was obscured or hidden or not recorded, and that every single person who would have seen this guy, for some reason, didn't say anything about it to anybody ever and lied to every investigator, or... But it's too fantastic. It's just too much.
were housed in the same cell block as Jeffrey Epstein, which, as we've shown, isn't visible to the camera footage we were given. So that raises questions, and so do the 2 prison guards who were on staff that night and had a view of Epstein's cell. Both were charged with falsifying records on the night Epstein died, specifically with them lying about completing mandatory rounds to check on Jeffrey Epstein the night of his death, despite a posted warning that read mandatory rounds must be conducted every 30 minutes on Epstein as per God. But they did not do that. Instead, they appeared to fall asleep, according to the OIG report, and occasionally browse the internet, where one guard, quote, read a news article about Jeffrey Epstein. So it's just a total lie to say there was no one there but Epstein and no possible suspects. You have several inmates shown on the camera the night of his death. You have one walking up the stairs after.
Do you remember all the conspiracies around his clothing and his thyroid bone? Yeah, some guy tried to say that, or some woman, I think, said that, like, when people kill themselves, this bone never breaks or something. So it was obviously a murder, even though there's zero other forensic evidence to insinuate that there was a murder, right? There's no defensive wounds. There's no other DNA collected. There's no other types of injuries around the neck would imply that. But then some guy countered, and I think we even looked up, there's like a study that shows that like in 60% of suicide by hanging or whatever, people break this bone. It was just a bullshit. It was just a lie.
Lockdown, and you also have guards that just falsified records. But this all brings us to lie number 2, the second biggest Pinocchio, and that's where they told us we're going to get the raw footage so we know there aren't shenanigans.
We are working on cleaning it up to make sure you have an enhanced, and we're going to give the original so you don't think there were any shenanigans.
So yeah, I don't think I need to explain why this is one of the most...
He was open about wanting to live forever. If he had one sweetheart deal, couldn't he have gotten another? Asmongold level logic broing. It's too odd of a case. Do you see like how fucking retarded you sound right now? He was open up wanting to live forever. What does that have to do with anything? He probably didn't want to live in prison forever. He had one sweetheart deal. Couldn't he have gotten another one? I feel like definitionally, sweetheart deals are usually like one-time things. If you fuck up over and over again, you're probably mega fucked, no? And then you said it's too odd of a case. It's not really that odd at all. I think the issue is people think it's way more odd than it actually is. When you read how many deaths happen in federal prisons, and then when you see how fucked this particular prison was, it becomes a lot less odd.
Brazen lies. We were told we'd be given a modified and the original footage. Instead, what we got are 2 modified videos because both were edited in Premiere Pro. Now, it isn't clear exactly what was edited, but expert forensic analysts who spoke to Wired said the footage wouldn't stand up in court, had 1
I don't believe any of that. It sounds to me like they just stitched together files, but I mean, I don't know the exact thing they're referring to here, but when we read it, because when you read through, because I think we read this Wired article, it was like, it looked like it had been edited at least twice or whatever, and it was, my guess is they probably dumps like files because they're video files and they're huge or whatever. They probably just stitched them together using Final Cut.
Analysts who
like the idea that there was some kind of sophisticated video editing going on here, I have none.
Spoke to Wired, said the footage wouldn't stand up in court, had 1 minute, no wait, actually 3 minutes missing, and now there are reports that the DOJ has the full footage, but just hasn't released it.
And a government source is alleged to CBS.
I believe there were some cuts with some missing time. Apparently there's like a minute missing at 11:59. Apparently the government said that the government claimed that the camera reboots or something, or the save file happens or something in that minute. But then apparently they've also said they do have that minute of footage. I have no fucking idea.
News, the FBI and other agencies are in possession of the full unedited footage.
And that brings us to the final point, the final biggest lie of all, and that's a direct quote from the DOJ memo about what the footage even shows. And it says this, quote, anyone entering or attempting to enter the tier where Epstein's cell was located from the SHU common area would have been captured by this footage. The government's entire case is built on this lie, and that's why it's the biggest, because
well, it's not really, but
their whole case for saying no one could have reached him is the idea that this one camera angle shows everything. But let's put Maxwell in our 3D twin and have him walk up the stairs. First, we'll put him on the left side of the staircase, and as you can see, you can barely make him out. However, if we put him on the right side of the staircase, you'll find that you can't see him at all. He's invisible from our view. So there's just obviously a blind spot here, which, by the way, the government already knew because they already admitted in a previous Epstein report, saying that this camera angle specifically was a, quote, partial view of the L tier stairway. So it's not a full view. You can't see everything. And as you can see in this excellent CBS investigation, you could actually access this stairway and Epstein's cell from a doorway invisible to the camera.
But with the primary entrance here, the pathway from the entrance to the stairs is completely out of view of the camera.
Yeah, that's right. You could access Epstein's cell. Our replication of the prison shows the same conclusion. If we have Maxwell walking from the shoe entrance to Epstein's cell, we can't see him from this camera angle, even though if we make the walls transparent, obviously we can see him, but in the raw footage, we'd have no way of knowing if somebody walked this direction. This painstaking recreation of the special housing unit put to bed the top 5 lies from our government about Jeffrey Epstein. 1, we didn't get a video of Jeffrey Epstein's cell. We got a camera, they can't see it. 2, there wasn't just 1 camera, there were 11. 3, the footage shows way more than just Epstein. 4, we didn't get raw footage, we got modified footage. And lastly, there are blind spots on this camera. I mean, it's just perfectly clear, and the government has previously admitted it. This, of course, doesn't mean, I have to say, that Epstein definitively himself, but the government is only adding fuel to the fire when they put out statements that are directly contradicted by their own video. The best you can say is this is either extreme levels of negligence or deliberate incompetence to cover things up. The most honest thing you can say at this point is that
all the Russian oligarchs jumped from Windows 2. They killed themselves. No evidence to the contrary. Don't be conspiracy theorists. Hey! If you want to fight about it. Oh, look at all these disagreeers in here. What do you want?
Man.
Hello.
Hello, hey, what's up?
What do you want? What do you disagree about?
I don't really disagree with you about anything. I don't know why I'm with you in a call.
Why the fuck were you in the channel called Stream Disagreements?
Oh, well, I mean, we're just talking about just random shit. I mean, these titles, they don't really have anything to do with the conversations. I mean, it's a bit of a guideline. But, I mean, it's a pretty mixed bag, I'd say.
The titles of the voice channels have nothing to do with the content of the voice channels? Hello? Are you there?
Hello?
Hi.
Hey, dude, you still there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Hello? I feel like the connection cut out there. Hold on, I'm trying to find a...
Hello? Hello?
Hey, you still there? Hey, yeah. Sorry.
Wait, do you know who I am?
Yeah, you're that streamer guy.
Hey, what's going on in here? Is there a debate happening?
Oh, why'd you start one? Oh my god!
There's no debate happening here? You're in debate 4 moderated, and there's not a debate happening in here.
No, sadly not.
Why don't you use the general lobby or general lobby 2 or off topic?
The room names don't matter.
Hey, what are you guys playing?
Hey, Destiny.
I'm about to die. Hang on.
What game is he playing?
I have no idea.
What game are you playing, Curls?
I'm playing Stalker.
What game are you guys
Shadow.
playing? You two. Drew and Hope.
I'm at work, just chilling with the boys.
Why are you in Game Room 1? You know what, Curls? Good for you. I'm happy you're playing Stalker. I hope you win. Good luck with Stalker 2, okay? And it's a Ukrainian company, so based. Good job. Buy all the DLC.
You're welcome.
Destiny, you using a lack of evidence as reasoning is flawed, as MK Ultra was almost pathetic. What do you mean lack of evidence is flawed? You need evidence to make a claim! What?
Don't you miss the old days when I could come in here and we could make people start with a vowel and end with a vowel?
Why, do I need to go back to playing Factorio? Is that what you're saying?
Just saying, you know, a little bit of going back to basics could be good, you know?
Blue-collar liberal. I only want people who disagree on the Epstein thing. What are you here for? What are you in that room for?
I did not mean to join this room.
Are any of you guys Epstein disagreeers? Any of you? Hello?
No.
Wait, what the fuck? No.
What the fuck, Destiny? We were having an amazing discussion. What the
Wait, so they agree with Epstein. They agree with that.
Wait.
Disagree with
Wait, what do you mean by Epstein disagreeers?
Okay, well, you already said no. Okay.
Why are they hanging out in that channel?
I don't
know. Can I color code it?
They agree with Epstein, though. You heard that, right?
Well, you made some good arguments. Badger Mole, what's up?
And then
You're an Epstein believer in the something.
So I am in disagreement, but like, okay, hold on. I have the stream running in the background, so it's fucking up the audio.
Take your time.
Okay, yeah. So I do disagree with you, but I don't really have the facts. So it would be totally just like a vibe-based disagreement. So I don't know if anybody's interested in hearing that.
Well, at least you're honest. Chris, what's up? Wow, true.
This guy's full doxing himself in here, huh?
BSCO, what's up?
Mel W, DGGL.
Blank.
Is that still on
What's
the
up?
Yo,
Are you an Epstein disagreeer?
we need more representation.
Graham,
Yeah.
do you think something nefarious happened with Epstein?
No, want to play League?
Mendel, do you think something nefarious happened with Epstein?
Hello?
All right, well, good job. You guys had your chance, and you've sacrificed it. Now it's gone.
Why would you try to even prove against it when it's destroying Republicans in the first place? Why not take the opposite side and be like, wow, I think something really did happen. Why are you trying to make their life easier?
Because it's not. There's still a really good angle of attack, and it's that these guys ran on saying they had Epstein shit, and then they've hidden Trump's association with it, and so they should release everything as a result of that. But as soon as you start making these weird conspiratorial deal with the devils of like, oh, there was a real conspiracy, everybody's fucking retarded, and they all believe it, a whole bunch of other retarded fucking conspiracies too, and they never come back from it.
Well, hold on. DGG has always been about like the arguing against the fucking crazy shit. Like, can you say why this thing is wrong and people have no reason to do it? You have a bunch of people that fucking bent themselves completely into a pretzel thinking that the Epstein file exists. Make them come in here and say, why is it not matter now? Why would you take the other side?
I don't take the other side. I think it does matter. I think that they should fucking release everything they have and fuck them, and the administration deserves to get fucked on this issue. But I think most people still genuinely believe there's like a client list and there's some huge conspiracy to have him killed or whatever.
Yeah, they do. And we should
not allow
push
that.
on that.
What do you want,
No, we
hockey
should
player?
push it now.
I have to tutor this kid in 10 minutes, so it's unlucky timing.
Don't worry, I can school you in 5. What do you need?
Yes, I do disagree with the whole Epstein thing, absolutely.
Give me your strongest piece of evidence that he was killed. The single strongest piece of evidence that something nefarious happened.
Evidence Epstein was killed?
Or the strongest piece of evidence.
Of it.
Okay, yeah, give me the one strongest. Don't name some irrelevant shit and then I push back and like, okay, well, that doesn't matter. Give me the strongest piece of evidence.
Okay, so the neck fractures. The autopsy revealed fractures in his neck, right? There was a broken hyoid bone in Epstein's neck. And these can occur in hangings, but they are way more common in cases of strangulation. Did you look at this? Did you look at his autopsy whatsoever?
Yes, I did. So the fact that it's just that one bone and there's no other part of the suicide that makes it look like it was a murder, there's no defensive wounds, there's no other marks on the body whatsoever, would highly undercut the idea that just because that particular bone is broken, that's indicative of him being murdered.
Did you look at Michael Baden's independent pathology review by any chance?
No, what does it contradict from what I just said?
He argued that the neck injuries were extremely unusual in suicidal.
Even if it was extremely unusual, doesn't matter. There's still no evidence for anything else. And even if and also I don't know if it was unusual because when I looked at the hyoid bone shit and other people commenting on it, they all said that it seems to be the fact that that bone does break pretty commonly. But like it would be more unusual that he was murdered and there was just that one extra neck.
I mean, what do you mean when you say you want conclusive evidence?
I didn't say conclusive. Wait. Did I say conclusive at all here? Did I ever use that word a single time?
Well, I mean, if you're here like saying that, it probably didn't happen and stuff like that. I mean, do you really think that the guards just happened to fall asleep when they snuck into a cell and strangled him to death on behalf of, I'm not going to say on behalf of who?
I think the guards were, I think the graveyard shift guards were just sleeping and being lazy. Yes. Like apparently they had been for a long time. Yeah.
Really? So you think the guards just happened to fall asleep, the camera malfunctioned, 2 non-functioning cameras actually.
Apparently over half the cameras were not recording. The cameras weren't, it's not that the cameras were malfunctioning, it's that the recorder wasn't on, but.
Also, why did they not photograph his position, the position of his body upon discovery?
Okay, hold on. So besides all of these weird, like, what about this and what about, do you have any, so you have no evidence whatsoever. Do you at least admit that you have no evidence whatsoever that he was actually killed, right?
I mean, if you were to take this to trial and you have it in front of a jury, they don't have like hard conclusive evidence that someone killed someone a lot of the time, right? They just use like, they listen to the story and stuff and they say, yeah, there's no way this could have happened.
Sure.
Like
Okay, give me the story. What's the story? What happened? Tell me what you think is most likely what happened.
So the story is that, both guards were just asleep.
No. Give me what you think happened. What do you think happened?
I don't want to say what I think happened.
Why?
I'm going to get in trouble if I say what I think happened.
Why would we get in trouble? Are you going to advocate for somebody to die?
No. I just, his view is contested by official medical findings. I think that,
Why would you think somebody's going to come after you?
No. Why would anyone come after me for viewing my opinion on what happened in the Epstein case?
Then why can't you just say what you think happened?
Well, I think I don't want to say who the people that may or may not be responsible.
The Jews? Trump?
No. It's nothing like that at all. No. But like, I'm just wondering if you looked into Michael Baden's arguments.
No, I'm not gonna chase down every single conspiracy theorist's like take on some. This is such a waste of fucking time. Just give me the strongest piece of evidence. Was he the one that did the autopsy?
Yeah. Well, he did one. No, he looked into the. He's not the one who did the autopsy.
Okay, just curious. If I look into this Michael Baden dude or whatever, and I dig through this for the next 30 minutes, and I find out that most of what he says is bullshit, how much would this move the needle on your opinion on the Epstein thing?
It would move it quite a bit. It's pretty much all I have, aside from the guards falling asleep and then just their handling of the files and stuff. But I'm guessing that Pam Bondi's just a retard and doesn't know how to communicate properly. And that's why she said she had the files on her desk.
Okay. What's this guy's name? How do you spell it? Michael
Baden. So Baden. Name and then the first name. It really was the unusual fracture pattern that was noted in the autopsy. Right?
Do you think that it would be more unusual for an unusual I'll read this guy's stuff, but like, don't you think it would be more unusual that a guy was murdered with absolutely no other signs of a struggle at all?
Yeah, I think that would be a lot more unusual. Yeah.
But then shouldn't this evidence cut against? Why would this evidence be in favor then?
Yeah, I suppose that makes sense. I guess when you look at it from that sort of perspective, it is probably more unusual that this unusual thing happened in the autopsy as opposed to someone coming in and killing him. So what's your evidence that he didn't die? Or sorry, that he didn't get murdered?
Well, that's a positive claim that you would have to support. I guess my positive claim is that he killed himself. My evidence that he killed himself is that apparently he already tried one time, so it seems like he was suicidal. He has every reason to kill himself, like the motive and everything makes sense. He has the means and the opportunity. He has the stuff he needs in his cell to do it. He has the opportunity to do it. And then all of the forensic evidence seems to agree that he killed himself. And I can't find any other alternative hypotheses that seem even remotely credible.
So again, you're basically doing what I'm doing, right? You're looking at the pattern of events that occurred and saying it's more probable that this happened, but you don't have like any single piece of conclusive evidence.
Hold on. You use that word again, conclusive. I've never asked you for conclusive evidence. I'm asking for a single piece. Why does every conservative do this? I ask for just one piece, and they're like, you got to prove 100%. I'm not asking you to conclusively prove. I'm just asking for your strongest one piece of evidence.
The unusual bone fractures would be the strongest piece of evidence that there is that he did not hang himself, right? Especially because the drop is short. It doesn't make sense. In a jail cell, the drop is going to be short. It would not make sense he had those bone fractures if he hung himself. They are much more common in manual strangulation because the direct pressure of hands or ligature crushes the hyoid and surrounding cartilage.
How could you ever, I'm just trying to think, how could you ever, like, let's say that I grant that it's a 95-5 thing. So it's quite rare, 1 out of 20 chance of that thing breaking, right?
Right.
How could I possibly explain a strangulation with no other marks of a struggle?
Well, that's why it's suggestive and not conclusive, right? So
no, stop saying that. Hello? What are you, you're about to tutor somebody? I'm not asking for anything conclusive.
Yeah,
we're
well,
being
I'm tutoring them in
inductive.
math.
We're just being
Math is
inductive.
usually great.
Sure, we're being inductive. We're being inductive here. We're just trying to figure out probabilistically. Okay, so I can accept. Sure, maybe it's rare that particular hanging pattern would occur. It's not impossible, right? But then my next question is, what are the chances that a particular strangulation would happen with absolutely zero other forensic markings of a murder?
I mean, I don't know the exact percentage, but I assume there's a very low chance that he got strangled, but then there were no bruises. Yeah, I'd say more than 90% of them would have some sort of external injury.
Okay.
So yes, it's very...
We also would have to say that all of the forensic evidence of another guy entering the cell, all of that must have been destroyed, right? So any fingerprints, any hair, any other types of him going in or out of the prison, all of that information was deleted or was destroyed, and nobody else in that cell block was willing to testify or say that somebody came in and killed him as well, right?
Okay, so I mean, if I were to ask you to, play the other side, what do you think the strongest piece of evidence is that he did get murdered? Like, what would you
I don't
say?
know, under the influence of drugs or some other psychotic disease that inhibits your ability from seeing reality? What do you mean? There's no evidence.
Okay, so they drugged him and then strangled him softly. They didn't have to leave any injuries. They just basically cut off his airflow after they drugged him. Don't you think that's pretty likely? I don't think that's anything crazy.
What drug? With what drug? Who drugged him? So somebody's involved in drugging him. He got drugged. He went to his cell. He fell asleep, and then somebody. If they lightly strangled him like that, then why would there be any broken bones that only show up during murders or whatever?
Well, they maybe use a sedative, diazepam. They could have used.
Don't those things tend to show up in toxicology reports?
I'm sure there's some that don't.
Also, there still would have had to have been somebody to go in and kill him, and nobody else in that cell block reported seeing anything.
Yeah, well, I mean, the cell block was really isolated, right? And then the cameras were off as well, and the guards were asleep, all pretty conveniently. So, I mean, what do you think the chances are of all of that happening in a given prison?
Higher than whatever story you're suggesting.
Really? I mean, people have done shit like this in the past, right?
Didn't he literally already try to kill himself?
Why is it that when someone you have to ask yourself this? Why is it that when someone tells you that the CIA did some insane, coveted, out of this world operation in the 60s or 70s, you'll believe it? But if someone tells you it's currently happening, you have a very, very hard time believing it.
It's a different time, and they were doing different things back then.
Yeah,
right?
Well, don't they have the capability to do more things that are?
I think right now, unfortunately, I think the saddest thing, if you're a man, okay, and you grow up, and all men do, and I refuse to believe anybody different, okay, all men fantasize about pulling off the perfect heist, okay? We watch Ocean's 11.
I do.
And it's based, okay? And you know what? You could do that up until 1999. Okay, but now there's fucking 70 trillion fucking cameras everywhere. Okay, now satellites can point to the sidewalk and suck your cum off the sidewalk and DNA fingerprint identify you. Okay, matched against 70 million databases, half which you don't even know your DNA's in. It seems like there's everybody's got a fucking cell phone, everybody's got a fucking camera, everything is fucking recording in random places all over the place. It just seems like it's the idea of getting away with something like this, especially given every other fucking thing is leaked from this administration or just been said openly. I'm not going to say Epstein being killed is not impossible, but here's the biggest problem, okay? The biggest problem is that any story or anybody powerful enough to do this story, I feel would have never allowed him to have been arrested. And was he convicted in the first place? They would have just.
Yeah, he was convicted of prostitution.
Then I feel then why wouldn't they have just killed him at any other time earlier in this process? Why would they wait till he gets to a fucking federal prison where there's a billion cameras and everything else? I feel like there would have been a million other times to disappear him without anybody ever, being none the wiser.
In a prison where you turn the cameras off, they also removed his cellmate hours before his death. You know about that, right? So they left him alone for the first time in weeks. Do you think it was a coincidence?
I don't think that was the first time. I think he'd been without a cellmate for a little bit.
No, that was the first time he was left alone. In weeks.
I can check.
He was indeed removed hours before his death, leaving him alone for the first time in weeks. This is the AI overview. This removal.
Okay, that could be the case.
Wait,
but that could be the case. But do you believe that he also had already tried to kill himself?
Tried to kill himself?
Because wouldn't that also comport with the story of the first time he's left on his own, he
is that
tries to kill himself
confirmed?
again?
Did he also try to kill himself? Did he genuinely try to kill himself? Is that confirmed?
I mean, What, yeah, wasn't that before? Yeah, this is part of the conspiracy story, right? That he should have already been on suicide watch because he'd already tried to kill himself once. This is like part of the big story.
Yeah, but he had like an actual legitimate suicide attempt, like the cord snapped or something and it failed, or they're just saying he put on suicide watch because he was alive. Or did he have like an actual suicide attempt?
You know what? I got nothing else going on today. So you know what? I got nothing else going on today. So you know what? Let me just fucking like fuck it.
Yeah. So let me just summarize it before I go tutor this kid. The fractures, the jail coincidence. So there's the cellmate that was removed, the 2 cameras, and then the compromised crime scene as well. There was no photography of the body, right? They didn't follow the standard protocol for photographing the body, right? And there was also inconsistent reports on the position of the body as well. So that's the last one.
Yeah, but like none of this is evidence that he was killed, right? Like,
no one really has. Unless there's like a DNA
I need you to talk me. I need you to help me. I need you to help me break through. I need you to help me talk to your brain. Okay? You're doing a thing where you're saying, "Isn't this weird? Isn't this weird? Isn't this weird?" But none of it cuts in either direction, right?
It's not just an "isn't this weird." I find it like if there's like a siren, it's a really loud, really bright red siren. The fact that his cellmate was removed for the first time hours prior to his death. That's not like a conventionally retarded, like, isn't it weird this guy died after taking the vax? No, this is like a really big thing, I would say. It's not just an isn't this weird. Like the fact that his cellmate was removed.
Nobody else, was anybody else awake on his cell block when he died? Or there were other people in his cell block, right? It wasn't just like a lone fucking cell, right?
So I don't know if anyone else was awake on a cell block, if like, Jerome or something was awake at the time he was strangled to death. But his cellmate was removed the evening before, which left him alone. And the cell block reported hearing nothing unusual. Yeah, so that's what they basically said. They noted no commotion overnight until the morning discovery. So yeah, no one heard anything, even if they were. Yeah, people were awake, but no one heard anything. Which again, it's consistent with like, sedating him, maybe putting fentanyl to kind of make him drowsy.
But how would somebody have gotten in or out if nobody? Wouldn't that be consistent with him? Wouldn't that just be consistent with him like killing himself? Fuck, where's my fucking note on this? Sorry, hold on. Wouldn't that just be consistent with him committing suicide?
Yeah, I'm sure they, articulate it in a way where it looks like he committed suicide, pretty heavily. But like, don't you think? I mean, do you think it's just like weird that his cellmate was removed hours before his death?
No,
and that
because wouldn't he wait one at a time? Wouldn't he wait to kill himself until he was alone?
Why? He's afraid his roommate would like stop him or something from killing himself?
Yeah. If you were in prison with somebody and your cellmate kills himself, you don't think you'd get in major fucking trouble for that? No?
Well, if it's Jeffrey Epstein, I mean, yes, I would help them. Yes, if they're hanging in front of me. Like,
well, if it's anybody, right?
Yeah, I would. I mean, yes, yeah, that does make sense, but you could throw it back the other way. Like, if they're going to kill him, they would do it when the guy leaves the cell. But there were also inconsistent reports on the position of the body. Right, they didn't follow standard protocol for a crime scene like that, or,
Do you think that the guards might have been doing this to cover their ass?
The guards? Yeah, the guards who actually did the deed.
The guards that what? That would do this to cover their ass?
No, I don't think so. Are you implying it's like probable that the guards would like move the body around or something? Or
no. Not that they moved, but that they would fuck up protocol a little because the guards clearly fucked up, right? This guy was a suicide risk. If you assume the official story is true, then the guards fucked up hard. They lied about doing their regular checks. They allowed this guy to be alone in a cell when they shouldn't have, and he had things in that cell that he wasn't supposed to have either, like pens and I think the bed sheets or whatever.
Yeah.
Because I have under discovery, because I wrote, guards discovered body at 6:30 a.m. He was found in a kneeling position with a strip of bed sheet wrapped around his neck. He was believed to have been dead for 2 hours when found. They failed to revive him with CPR. He was transferred to New York Downtown Hospital. He was pronounced dead at 6:39 a.m. The removal of his body was in violation of protocol. There was a lack of photographs taken of body.
Yeah, there was a guard who described it as legs out in front of him, his buttocks about an inch off the floor, with the orange noose around his neck, tied to the bunk above.
Sure, but like
right?
so like wait. Here's a question. If I wanted to make this a murder, right?
Yeah.
If the story was absolutely perfect, wouldn't that just be more evidence that it was a murder? Because you could just say, "Oh, well, look, like obviously it was staged because everybody's reporting the exact same story. Everybody's found him in the exact perfect position to be suicide. So it was obviously a murder." The only reason I'm asking this is because if I follow your story where you're saying that people are giving different reports of like what happened, if he was murdered, why would they give different reports of what happened? Like, how does that cut in favor of that anyway? It feels like you're just trying to make every piece of evidence fit, right? Like, let's assume your story is true and he was murdered by somebody. What would explain the guards reporting different things or not following procedure and taking photographs of the body?
So I think like the first few minutes after discovery are critical, right? So the guards moved Epstein's body immediately to attempt resuscitation or whatever, instead of photographing and securing the scene. So that's probably why that's probably why there were different counts of the position.
Sure, but I'm saying that that piece of evidence right there, that could cut either way, right? That doesn't necessarily mean one thing or another, no?
Yeah, I guess if he hungs himself, someone discovers the body, he runs to call for help. The other guy, attempts to revive him, and then the body gets moved.
Okay.
But yeah, that could apply both ways.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess it's a bit confusion. But if he did kill himself, the guards still failed massively. They skipped checks, they fell asleep, and they falsified logs. Were any of them prosecuted or?
I don't know if what they did was criminal, but at the very least they lost their jobs and everything. But there was doesn't he have this Atlantic article? I'm not gonna have it.
Also, the guards could be trying to protect themselves, right, with the inconsistent reporting.
Yeah, I agree with that. But if the only reason they would try to protect themselves is because they fucked up, which points to an accident, right?
Yeah, they're supposed to check on a cell every 30 minutes. They fell asleep or were surfing the internet or whatever, and then falsified logs. So, yeah. Yeah, I think so. So, what do you think is more likely? I guess you still think it's more likely that he was just hanging himself?
Yeah, I mean, everything seems to fit there, right? They're lazy guards. They're breaking protocol. They broke protocol when they found a dead guy. They tried to CPR and everything else because they knew that they fucked up hard. Like, other fuck-ups had already been reported in the jail because there were other inmates that reported seeing Epstein with things that he wasn't supposed to have. I think other inmates reported that Epstein would tell the prison guards, "Oh, I know people who are going to sue you guys," or whatever. So they gave him shit that he wasn't supposed to, I think bed sheets and pens, I think, were the two things that I feel like I remember.
Yeah, okay. I think that makes sense. Yeah, that's changed my mind quite a lot I didn't think about it that way. But yeah, that makes sense. Okay, I have to go tutor this kid math, but it was nice talking to you.
Okay, have fun.
Good rest of the stream.
Fuck. There was a really good article, it might have been in The Atlantic, and it lists 50 different people who die in federal prisons in weird circumstances. Why not just have him post bail? You can't post bail if you're convicted, retard. Good one. Oh, is this article? 32 short stories about death in prison. It sucks because these prisons have issues, but people think there's some ultra extra special fuck up here, when in reality federal prisons are just kind of fucked up. Jonathan Magby, a paraplegic in a wheelchair who needed 24-hour care, was arrested for marijuana possession in D.C. in 2008. He required a ventilator to breathe when he slept. The jail didn't have the facilities to care for him, so he died in jail. Terrell Thomas died of dehydration in a cell in Milwaukee after jailers turned off the water to his cell for 7 days. Jesus. The jail was under the leadership of then-Sheriff David Clark. Darren Rainey was an inmate in South Florida. Guards put him in a shower stall, locked the door, and turned on the hot water. Then they taunted him, saying, "How do you like your shower?" He died. The witnesses said he looked like a boiled lobster. Authorities declined to charge the guards. They said the skin peeling off Rainey's body must have been slippage caused by attempts to revive him. David Osias Ramirez, like Epstein, was accused of sexually abusing minors. While he was in custody, nominally under the care of jail guards, his cellmate drowned him in a toilet. Kenneth Dahlstra killed himself in the Ionia County Jail in Michigan by drinking water for 2 hours until he died. He was on suicide watch. A guard told him to stop drinking water, but he did not. I'm going to drink this water until I die, motherfucker. Jesus Christ. I feel like it's insanely hardcore. Why? Oh my god. Is Justical gonna make it? Look, see, people say I don't do a good job converting people from a loyal groiper to getting reposted by lefties and retweeted by Hassan himself. How many days until Justical is co-starring on Hassan Piker's stream right next to Bad Epinot? Oh no, well, Bad Epinot is out now, I guess.
So I don't.
Okay, hold on. Who is this fucking guy? I'm gonna assume this is taken out of context. You put ribs in the oven at 200 degrees for 4 hours and they fall off the bone. Your body is on your skeleton at 98.6 degrees for 70 years and nothing. For that Dr. Michael, this has to be like out of context. I'm assuming this is... has to be a meme or not a real quote. I don't believe this. Okay, stop. All right. Okay. Where should I put this, dude? Fuck it. Oh, I even have the Baden guy in here. On October 30th, 2019, Baden issued a report stating that Epstein's neck injuries due to all the broken bones were more consistent with homicide. Baden claimed that over 1,000 jail hangings, none of them had 3 fractures. I think we looked that up and that was just not correct. But, okay. Forensic pathologist hired by Jeffrey Epstein's family said he believes Epstein's autopsy suggests homicide rather than suicide, but New York City's chief medical examiner stands by her conclusion that Epstein died by hanging himself. Michael Baden is a private pathologist. Pathologist? What does that mean? What does a pathologist do? Study diseases? Or pathology? Or what? A pathologist is a medical doctor with specialized training to study medical conditions using human tissue, blood, pee, and other body fluids. They provide essential insight and information, help diagnose and treat conditions, monitor them, and provide prognoses. Through research, they can better diagnose diseases of all types. They gather information by looking at tissue samples, cells, and body fluid under a microscope. Okay, maybe they're most likely to be like a forensic pathologist. There you go. This expert investigates and evaluates cases of sudden, suspicious, and violent death, as well as other classes of death according to the law. Okay, so he's a private pathologist who was briefly the chief medical examiner for New York City in the late 1970s before going on to become a celebrity forensic witness. He has weighed in on scores of high-profile cases, including as a defense witness for O.J. Simpson. Baden told Fox News on Wednesday that he believes the evidence points to homicide rather than suicide in Epstein's death because of 3 fractures of Epstein's hyoid bone and thyroid cartilage, injuries he says are more indicative of homicidal strangulation than suicide. Do they ever ask him to account for the lack of any other injury? Stop! Okay, what do we got? Okay. Homicidal strangulation, then suicidal hanging. He noted that the 66-year-old Epstein had 2 fractures on the left and right sides of his larynx, specifically the thyroid cartilage or Adam's apple, as well as 1 fracture on the left hyoid bone above the Adam's apple, Baden told Fox News. Those 3 fractures are extremely unusual in suicidal hangings and could occur much more commonly in homicidal strangulation. While there's not enough information to be conclusive yet, the 3 fractures were rare, said Baden, whose probed cases involve other celebrities. I've not seen in 50 years where that occurred in a suicidal hanging. Baden, who's examined more than 20,000 bodies and hosted HBO's Autopsy, explained that if a person weighed 120 pounds and their head weighed 10 pounds, there would be 110 pounds of pressure on the neck and the jaw during a hanging. But if someone put a hand around a person's neck and squeezed, that could double or even triple the pressure on the neck. First of all, wasn't Epstein like 6 feet plus? Like 200 plus pounds? Epstein age. Why did I look this up? Epstein. Sorry. Height. Approximately between 6 and 6'1". Do we have is there like a stats anywhere, like on his prison intake sheet? If it looks like a homicide and breaks like a homicide, what? No, but it doesn't look like a homicide. You're wrong. You're just wrong. This is the one thing that this guy's bringing up. I don't even think this thing is true. Even if everything was true from what he's saying here, it would still be more likely that he hung himself. But I don't even think this claim is true. Okay, anthropological analysis of trauma in throat, bone, and cartilage, a review. Does this help us at all? Hold on. Did you write if he was convicted? Oh, he wasn't convicted. Oh, that one guy was wrong on. Oh, good. At least I didn't mess up then. Hold on. Dumbass. Wait, is there somebody else? Hold on. Weren't the bed sheets he hung himself with specifically designed to avoid suicide attempts? No, I thought I read in the report, in the Federal Bureau of Prisons, the FBP report, I thought that it was reported that he wasn't supposed to have those sheets at all, that he got them from the guards and he wasn't supposed to. Okay, so Epstein was 6 feet tall, 180 pounds. Apparently. Okay. Let's see, detection of trauma. Clinical treatment causes. Throat trauma can result in fracture of the hyoid bone and thyroid and cricoid cartilage and or bone of these three structures. The hyoid and is it hyoid or is it hyoid? And thyroid are most commonly affected. Sharma et al. Studied deaths due to constriction of the neck, finding hyoid fracture in 21% of cases and thyroid cartilage fracture in 17%. Fracture was also more likely in individuals of advanced age. Studied deaths due to constriction of the neck. Is this suicide or homicide? Injuries to neck structures and deaths due to constriction of the neck with a special reference to hanging. Asphyxial deaths due to constriction of the neck being common in all parts of the world. Perspective studies and different setups to examine the profile of neck structure. Injuries are needed so as to differentiate the suicidal or homicidal nature of such deaths with a greater certainty. I don't know if this goes into the differences between these. Wait. What do these people want? What do you want? No Samu.
So you're saying that you're giving all these reasons, and this I just think it's more likely that there's like a lot of people that are disagreeing just due to the fact that it's such an unusual situation, and I think that's something we should be paying attention to, isn't it?
I mean, suicide is already a pretty unusual situation, right?
Is there not like a way that somebody could have like talked to him and like threatened him or something? Is like, did Epstein have like family or something or anything like that?
I mean, it could have been, but has there been any evidence of this presented at all?
Probably not, no, but...
Okay. I mean, it's possible aliens visited him too, right? I know that's less likely.
Yeah, probably.
But I mean, like, yeah, I could surmise like a million different ways where it's possible, right?
I suppose, yeah. I don't know. I just think the fact that there's even any sort of deniability is, I don't know. I just think Republicans are chewing themselves out for this, and not that we should just agree that this was like a conspiracy, but like I just don't really see the benefit to just fighting on this, unless you think it's entertaining.
5% of prisoners commit suicide in federal jail? Bro, there's no way that number is true. Chill. That means for every 1,000 prisoners, 20 kill themselves every year or what? Or total? Stop. Sorry, there was someone in chat. Okay, wait. Okay, so so what's your argument? You just said it's weird?
Yeah, I guess I don't really have any.
5% per day. They all disappear after 20 days. Okay. Fractured hyoid bones have been a subject of scrutiny long before the Epstein case, as the indication of neck trauma has been associated with both strangulation and hanging. Can I look up, like... Okay, well, hold on. This is highly sus. I don't know why he would use this example of if a person weighed 110 pounds or 120 pounds when we know Epstein's weight. That starts this whatever thing off really poorly, but... There were also hemorrhages in Epstein's eyes that were common in homicidal strangulation and uncommon, though not unheard of, in suicidal hangings. The forensic pathologist said the prominent hemorrhage in the soft tissue of the neck next to the fractures is evidence of a fresh neck compression that could have caused the death.
City, a lot of the
to the elites, to the
Is this-
politicians, to all sorts of powerful.
they have the moment.
I
Very
knew
nice.
a bunch of people.
Baden stressed his independent study was not complete. The investigation is not complete until all the information has come in. What did he even end up saying? Or does he have like a final opinion on it? Check stream disagreements. Why? There's a bunch of random retards in there who are just there to fucking jerk off. What? Mutin has perms to come up here. I don't know why he would do that. What do you want?
Okay. Why do you think it's not sus that he broke his neck at all with that tiny ass cell with like 4 feet of fucking drop and he's 6 foot tall dude? Like what?
4 feet. Listen, force equals mass times acceleration in Newtonian mechanics, okay?
Why do you think they invented gallows? Look at the history of hanging. They weren't breaking their necks enough, so they had to like make taller gallows to make sure they broke their necks. And this guy's had breaking his neck in 3 places with 4 feet.
The guy's also tall and he fucking weighs, 190 pounds or 180 pounds or whatever. And he's old.
Like to get the velocity to break your neck in 3 places, like he'd have to like throw himself like dolphin dive off the bed and then somehow avoid his feet touching the ground to like it's ridiculous.
How much okay. How much more ridiculous would it have been that somebody else snuck in and strangled him with nobody else noticing and no other injuries on his body at all?
A lot more. But it's still ridiculous that he broke his neck in 3 places with that tiny ass drop. Like
wait, hold on. Do you even know what the chances are of breaking these necks if you just like hang yourself off of a 4 foot drop? Or are you just assuming with absolutely no information whatsoever on this?
I think typically in these scenarios when there's no like...
Typically, how many suicided bodies have you seen that have hung themselves, motherfucker? What do you mean typically?
Do I have to see them personally?
Or have a paper on it or anything? You read about it? Yeah, well, link me what you read. I genuinely don't know. I don't know. I don't know a lot of people that have hung themselves.
Just from what I've read about hanging in general, it's like typically you need a really, really good drop.
Okay. Expert Wikipedia here says that the standard drop was between 4 and 6 feet.
Yeah, of free fall, of total free fall, not from like a confined fucking set, like a cell with no space to actually like,
Couldn't you have just
like
rolled off the? Couldn't you just rolled off the ground? Couldn't you? Well, first of all, you could have just rolled off the.
You wouldn't get any momentum doing that, and also
you get momentum as you approach.
Swing up under him, his body would just swing under him and just brace his fall. He'd have to have like the willpower of a fucking monk
Could his bone not have broken after like hanging there for a little bit?
I don't think so. That sounds not plausible. It seems like bone breaking usually like a sudden snap thing, you know? That's why they had him drop 6 feet of total free fall, just gaining speed that whole time. And even then, some people still didn't break their necks. And the gallows had to sit through their suffering death.
Okay, can you give me any information about this besides like your personal opinion?
No, I just came in here with my personal opinion.
Okay, I'm curious. Do you think this cuts in favor of your theory or against your theory?
That I didn't bring any evidence?
Wait, actually, you know what? Hold on. How did he fucking die?
What do you mean?
Did he die because he snapped his neck and his lungs and everything stopped working, or did he die because he was strangled, or because like of cut off to oxygen or blood to the head?
You think he sat there and strangled himself to death, just like hovering his feet off the ground, and broke his neck just wriggling around?
Well, okay, hold on. So I don't actually think he didn't quote unquote break his neck, right? The only bones that broke were these smaller bones in his neck. Number one. And number two, I think he did die of just strangulation. He didn't like snap a vertebrae or something.
Okay, so if he died of strangulation, then why the broken bones? Like, was he?
They were small bones. They just break.
Time?
They're small, tiny bones, and it's a 180-pound man with a thing around his neck just hanging there. It's not, I don't think your neck normally supports a lot of your weight like that. No.
By the way, Mr. Mooten said to turn your plant around. He doesn't like the way.
Good. I hope he turns his mom around.
If he's just sitting there in his cell with the weight of his body in a sheet, slowly strangling himself, like, which is it? I don't know. Was he violently thrashing to kill himself? Was he so eager to kill himself?
Why would you have to? You wouldn't have to violently thrash.
You think 3 bones would just break just by kind of gently easing into a noose?
You're not gently easing into it. You don't normally suspend your whole weight off your neck. No.
I'm pretty sure I could suspend myself with my neck right now and not break 3 bones.
Try it. Just kidding. Don't do that.
Necks are stronger than you think, dude.
Why do you keep saying necks are stronger than you think? We're not talking about your vertebrae.
I never said that before. That was the first time I said that.
Well, no, but you keep saying like break his neck.
Well, yeah, he had 3 broken bones now.
Yeah, but like smaller loser bones, weak bones.
Yeah, sure. But it still implies some level of violence, not just sitting there.
There was some level of violence. He's literally dead. So there must be some level of violence, no?
If he died via strangulation, not necessarily. If he had that much willpower to sit there and let himself strangle to death.
The fuck is this stupid fucking bone? Apparently this hyoid bone breaks in a lot of hangings, but I don't know if there's like if they list the drops. This is from 2010.
They made a whole invention for this. They literally invented the gallows just so they didn't have to
they didn't have gallows in his prison cell.
No, I know, but people made an invention so that people would die quicker, so it's not so fucking agonizing to look at. Like, and they decided that 6 feet of full free fall.
Yeah, but you're probably designing for a slightly different reason, right? Like these people also probably didn't want to die.
Sure, but the fact is that they didn't. Like, people weren't dying just by, they weren't dying quick anyways.
People didn't die ever? Like, what was even the percentage?
No, they invented the gallows to break the neck.
Yeah, but like, weren't they trying to snap like your whole fucking vertebrae there? Like, weren't they trying to actually like Like if you got dropped from a gallows and then you hit the bottom of that free fall, even if they cut your rope right after, weren't those people dead?
Yeah, that was the point.
Yeah, but this wasn't him breaking his like vertebrae, like snapping his spine.
Yeah, so if he just literally just zenned out, okay? If he just had a zen moment and just fucking just sat there with all his body weight on his fucking neck until he died, why the fuck did he break bones? Was he thrashing the whole time? It seems sus.
Well, could it not have just been a lot of pressure on it over a few hours and then eventually it breaks?
I don't think bones work like that.
What do you mean they don't work like that?
I mean, they're not just going to suddenly fail from stress unless, I don't know.
You don't think that, like, you can't, like, put pressure on a bone and then, like, wait, like, 5 or 10 seconds or over time, eventually it'll snap?
If all things are unchanged, if they weren't broken to begin with, I don't think they'd become broken, no.
First of all, I think that can happen. Also, what if he had bonitis?
Maybe.
Fucking got him. Just kidding. Hold on. Fractures of hyoid bone and thyroid cartilage in suicidal hanging. Objective: to analyze frequency of hyoid bone and thyroid cartilage fractures by suicidal hanging in Thai people, and compare the different methods of visualizing for those fractures. This is a very small study, and it's published in. I don't know how trustworthy this is. This says 5 of the 20 males broke their hyoid bone here, but I don't know if we know how far they threw themselves.
I guarantee you, of those 20 males, not a single one of them was just zenning out and fucking killing.
Why are you saying guaranteed when you have no idea?
Because it's not a thing that happens very often.
You don't know how often it happens. You have no first-hand experience, and it sounds like you haven't read anything about people killing themselves by hanging themselves. I don't know why you would just assume that it's like so intuitively obvious.
People puss out the same way they puss out when they jump off bridges. Like, I didn't actually want to do this.
Well, but this guy probably actually did want to do this, no?
Sure, but actually being about to die and following through with it is like a monk-like zen that's not easily attainable.
What about the fact that this guy already tried to kill himself one time? Do you think that's just not true? Or
no, I don't know.
So he tried to kill himself once, so doesn't it make sense he would try to kill himself a second time?
Was it in short succession? Was this wait, so he had already tried to kill himself and the guards were sleeping? Was it recent or like?
I believe it was fairly recent. Hold on. Okay. Issued on July 30th after Epstein was removed from suicide watch and psychological observation following a possible attempted suicide by him on July 23rd. Yeah, I think he tried to kill himself on July 23rd. Is that when it happened? Oh, yeah.
When did he actually die?
He actually killed himself on August 10th.
You said July 23rd?
Mm-hmm.
And that was also he tried to hang himself?
Yes. At approximately 1:27 a.m., SHU staff hears noises coming from Epstein's cell. Epstein's cellmate, inmate 1, says that Epstein has attempted to hang himself. SHU staff observes Epstein lying on the floor with a piece of orange cloth around his neck. Epstein initially tells MCC New York staff that his cellmate tried to kill him. Epstein's cellmate, inmate 1, tells MCC New York staff that while he was asleep, he felt something hit his legs, and when he turned on the light, he saw Epstein with a string around his neck and called the guards. Epstein is transferred out of the SHU and placed on suicide watch in a cell near the psych department and health services unit. Later that morning, health services unit personnel conduct a medical assessment and observe that Epstein has a red mark 2/3 of the way around the front and side of his neck. The BOP assesses Epstein for risk of suicide and determines he should remain on suicide watch. Okay. So he tried to kill himself already by
If you were being extra conspiratorial, would that not just be like a failed attempt of assassination?
How?
Because Epstein claimed the guy killed him or tried to kill him. Like what
How
motive
could
would
the
he
guy?
have to say
How
that?
you're telling me they put a guy in the cell to kill him, and the guy failed to kill him? Why would he call the guards?
What the other guy?
That's trying
Is
to
he the
kill
one who
him.
called? They heard noises. He said usually.
They said they heard noises coming from the cell, and then the cellmate says that he was calling the guards. Is there more details about this? He says while he was asleep, he felt something hit his legs, and when he turned on the light, he saw Epstein with a string around his neck and called the guards. When interviewed by the OIG, there's a footnote. Another inmate housed in the same SHU tier, inmate 2, at the time of the July 23rd incident, said he heard inmate 1 call for assistance, and that inmate 1 later told him that Epstein had tried to kill himself by hanging himself on the bunk bed ladder.
Let me Google.
What Google?
These small bones.
Okay. Okay, I'm reading a chat GPT thing.
All right, yeah, no, it seems pretty plausible that he killed himself.
Since the bones that were broken with the hyoid bone and the thyroid cartilage, neck fractures and hanging happened because the ligature, bedsheet in Epstein's case, tightened around the neck and force from the body's weight compressed the airway and surrounding structures. In younger people, the hyoid and laryngeal cartilages are flexible and rarely break in suicidal hangings, but after age 40 to 50, they calcify and become brittle. Epstein was 66, making him more prone to those fractures. Partial suspension hangings, kneeling, leaning forward, etc., still generate enough pressure at the focal point of the ligature to fracture these ossified structures, and the oblique angle of the bedsheet tied to the bunk would have concentrated pressure on specific parts of the neck, increasing fracture likelihood. So forensic textbooks note that hyoid and thyroid cartilage fractures are more common in manual strangulation. That's why their presence in this case raised questions, but they're not incompatible with suicidal hangings, especially in older men. Studies show
Why are
that
the
up
bruises
to...
in the back of his neck?
Are there? Where?
Yeah. I'll link in general, I guess.
Wait, where is this supposedly being linked?
General, my dude.
I hate Discord. I don't know how to use it. I'm a fucking retard. Hold on. I'm looking. General, my dude. How long ago did you link it? Oh.
Just a minute ago. If he really was just leaning forward, then why is like the top back of his neck discolored?
I mean, doesn't this look pretty consistent with there was a thing tied, like the very back of his neck, there's no bruising at all. It's just like on the back sides or whatever, no? Wouldn't this be where we would have expected, like especially looking at the front, right? Where the tied sheet would have gone back there?
There seems to be discoloration the whole way around, no?
No.
Like you see the whiter parts, like where the blood was.
The whiter parts just look like creases in his skin or whatever. Like the red, all the red and black parts are the trauma, right? Like look at the front of his neck. Like that's that's hardcore trauma. And then this is the one on the back. The sides looks like bruising, slight bruising, not as severe as the front. But on the very back of the neck, there's not any at all, unless you count those white lines. But like, look, those white lines like run down his back almost, right? Or there's like multiple crisscrossing lines, like right under his hairline. These look like they're just like folds in like an old guy's skin, basically.
Well, yeah, maybe he killed himself, but I still think it's sus.
Of course it's sus. He killed himself. That's not supposed to happen, right?
It seems like it was a violent death.
What?
It seems like it's a really violent death. And
wait, what makes it seem really violent? There were no other marks on his body.
Broken bones and marks. I don't know.
Broken bones? It was too
wriggling a lot.
sminy. It was a small bone and some cartilage.
Yeah. But if he was just like lowering himself onto a cloth.
I don't know if he was just calmly, patiently. He might have just fallen to his knees or whatever. I don't know how exactly he did it, but I mean, like, whatever story I make here to say that it's kind of weird that those are broken, which you still say that and you're just taking that for granted because you have no evidence whatsoever that these bones don't ordinarily break when adult men try to hang themselves. How is it possible that there are no other defensive marks on his entire body?
Like, let's just, okay, even if we assume that there was a fucking, a literal, okay, the most outlandish thing, okay? So, like, there's a CIA guy or a fucking Mossad guy, and they let him in the prison, and they're in the cell with him, and they're like, oh, hey, Epstein, how's it going? He turns around, they fucking, they neck him, and then just do the over-the-shoulder fucking sack of potatoes hanging, he wouldn't have any other marks.
How would he not have marks from fighting back against a guy? What do you mean?
How would you be fighting back if he's just getting like over the shoulder sack of potatoes hung?
What does over the shoulder sack of potatoes hung mean? I don't know what that means.
Okay, let me show you. Okay, I'll find an image of it. Like, think of a guy holding a sack of potatoes. Okay, he's like hunched over and like yanking on the fucking sack.
Hunched. Okay, yeah.
Like he's leveraging the sack, the same way that you would if you had a rope around some guy's neck, and then you turn his back to your back, and then you lean down. He's up off the ground. There's nothing he can do. There's no fighting back.
So one, I don't know if the injuries would be as consistent because I don't know if the rope would come from the top like that. Number one, but number two, you don't think he wouldn't be able to try and fight back at all ever? Like, this would have required him to be standing straight, staring away, not hear somebody enter his cell. The guy enters the cell. He gets a perfect...
No. I'm not talking about getting snuck up on. I'm talking about, like, pleasantries like, oh, hey, Epstein, I'm visiting you for the 7th time for some, like, that's just what happens because I'm allowed to do that because I'm the Mossad and fucking CIA. And he turns around and then bingo bongo, rope around the neck, potato sack hurl, he gets fucked. And there's no signs of fighting back.
Okay, so I don't know if there's ever been a kill like this ever with no sense of fighting back whatsoever, number one, okay? Because keep in mind then, as he kills Epstein, he can't drop him on the floor. He needs a clean catch, so he has this guy passed out in like 4 or 5 seconds. Like, it has to be one catch. It can't like slip at all because there'd be multiple marks. Nobody else in the prison reported seeing this guy.
We're assuming that this is like a literal like CIA or Mossad guy. So yeah, it'd be pretty clean and professional. Like, one go.
But nobody else...
This is the best case scenario for the conspiracy.
Okay, when you say like a good guy who kills people, I don't think their goal when the Mossad people are killing people is to like assassinate people inside prisons and make it look like suicides. I think they usually put bombs in their pets and explode their assholes next to them. But also like... well, hold on. If this guy tried to kill himself once before, wouldn't it make more sense just to like wait and chill and let him do it again? Like, wouldn't we expect him to try to kill himself again? Like, wouldn't that make the most sense?
Again, you're assuming that other prison cellmate wasn't just another Mossad agent.
So they sent... The first one sucked, and he couldn't even kill him right. But the second one was the upper class.
Yeah, they had to send in the real professional. They can't rely on just a rando fucking inmate to do the job.
Okay. And why didn't anybody else see or hear that guy? Because he was in a box creeping through the...
Yeah, got me there. I don't know. Maybe because they were sleeping.
Okay.
All right. I don't have a real argument.
Okay. Do you admit that it's more likely that he probably just killed himself?
It is more likely, yeah.
Okay. I love you.
Love you.
Um, okay, I'm just curious. Can we find out, was anybody else on his cell block when he died? Because then at least we could have a theory where, like, maybe somebody snuck in and killed him and nobody else could have possibly seen it because he was all alone in his... Nearby inmate heard nothing when Epstein died. Bruce Barquette, who represents Nicholas Tartaglione. Oh my God. Oh, geez. The SHU staff and 3 interviewed inmates with a direct line of sight to Epstein's cell door on the night of his death stated that no one entered or exited Epstein's cell after the SHU staff returned Epstein to his cell on August 9th. As noted, the surveillance camera in the SHU area where Epstein was housed was live streaming movement in the hallway outside of Epstein's cell. Although the camera was not recording the captured video, the camera was in plain view of the inmates, and therefore inmates would have been aware that any hallway movements, including into or out of Epstein's cell, could be monitored by BOP staff, even if unbeknownst to them, the DVR system was not recording the live stream at that time. As the OIG has noted in numerous prior reports, BOP staff and inmates are aware of where prison cameras are located and often engage in wrongdoing in locations where they know cameras are not located. Wow. Not good, guys. Son is retweeting Juice Stalker now? Yeah, we saw that earlier. Okay, never mind. This is just as boring as when I looked into it last. There is no evidence that anything else happened. I don't know what you want me to say. I don't know what you want me to say. Okay? He killed himself. It's bad. It's not good.